Every organization has a leader. Every nation has a head. Every movement has a voice. But what about the church? Who leads it? Is it Jesus alone? Or is there someone on earth who represents him? Because for over 2,000 years, one office has stood at the center of that question: the Pope. To some, he is the visible head of the church. To others, he is just a man. And to many, he is one of the most misunderstood figures in Christianity. So let's ask the question directly. Did Jesus actually make the Pope the head of the church? To answer that, you have to go back. Not to Rome, not to the Vatican, but to a moment, a question, and one man. Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" Matthew 16 verse 15. Many speak, but one answer stands out. Simon Peter, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And then something happens that changes the structure of the church forever. Jesus responds, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." Matthew 16 verse 18. Not churches. One church. And then he says something even more striking. "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven." Keys. In the ancient world, keys meant authority. Not symbolic authority. Real authority. The authority to govern, to bind, to loose. And Jesus makes it clear. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. This is not just honor. This is office. This is responsibility. And this is where many misunderstand. Because Catholics do not believe that the Pope replaces Christ. Christ is the head of the church. Always. But Christ chose to establish a visible structure on earth. A shepherd to guide his flock. And Peter was the first. After the resurrection, Jesus returns to this again. He looks at Peter and asks, "Do you love me?" John 21. 3 times. And each time he gives a command. Feed my sheep. Feed my lambs. Not suggest. Not inspire. Feed, lead, care. And from that moment, Peter steps into a role. Not as a rival to Christ, but as a servant of Christ. A visible leader under the invisible head. And history confirms this. Peter goes to Rome. And there he leads the church. Until his martyrdom. Around 64 AD. But the story doesn't end with him, because the role he held does not disappear. It continues. From Peter to Linus to Clement and onward, what the church calls apostolic succession, an unbroken line, not of power for its own sake but of responsibility, to guard the truth, to preserve the faith, to keep the church united. And over time, this role becomes clearer. The Bishop of Rome, the successor of Peter, serves as a visible sign of unity. Not above the church, but within it, not as Christ but under Christ. And yet the question remains, why does this matter? Because without a visible center, division becomes easy, interpretation becomes personal, and unity begins to fracture. But Christ prayed for something specific, that they may be one. John 17 verse 21. One, not scattered, not divided, one. And unity requires something visible, something concrete, something that holds. So when Catholics look at the Pope, they do not see a replacement for Jesus. They see the office that Christ himself began. An office of service, of sacrifice, of responsibility. A man called to carry the weight of unity. And that changes the question. Not, is the Pope equal to Christ? But, did Christ intend his church to have a visible shepherd on earth? Because if he did, then the existence of the Pope is not an invention. It is a continuation. And if he didn't, then 2,000 years of Christian history becomes harder to explain. So now the question is yours. When Jesus gave Peter the keys, what did he really mean? Was it symbolic? Or was it the beginning of something that still exists today? Let's talk in the comments. Because this is not just about history. It's about authority, truth, unity, and who leads the church that claims to follow Christ.